Everybody, and welcome back to VUDivulged. I'm Anthony Polkowski, the General Manager, and on today's Distinguished Speaker Series, we have Matthew Hayes. He is a Border Patrol agent for the United States and has worked on the southern and the northern border of the United States. During his presentation, he talks about his journey in becoming a Border Patrol agent, as well as some of the common trends he has seen across both the borders. Please enjoy his presentation.
Good morning. We have our first distinguished speaker. His name is Matthew Hayes. He is with the United States Border Patrol. He has been with that Border Patrol since 1995. He's going to talk to you today about his career and what his career entails. So if everyone could please give Matthew Hayes undivided attention, that would be great.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So, I come from a small town in upstate New York where there are more dairy cows than people. And in 1995, I was playing in a punk rock band and I owned a small landscape company. And I didn't know what I was going to do with my life. It didn't look like we were going to make it big, and landscaping was destroying my body. So my dad was Deputy U.S. Marshal, which is a federal job. He was down at the Federal Law Enforcement Training Academy in Brunswick, Georgia, and he said, I keep seeing these guys marching around, singing in cadence in uniform, in Border Patrol. He said, I don't know exactly what they did, and just to age myself, so there was no internet at this time, so it wasn't like I could look up what is the Border Patrol. And we weren't making any news, so I said, what the heck? I took the test, passed the test. At that time, I had a year of college under my belt. The test is a college level test, and it still is to this day. Passed that test, and got a call, and before you know it, I'm in the academy, running around, wrestling, fighting, shooting, driving, having a blast. The academy is a blast. I'm going to show you guys a sort of a rah-rah video about it. And then I was assigned to, so again, no internet, I got assigned to El Centro, California. I'm like, yeah, beach, I was single, you know, beautiful women, beautiful weather. Well, El Centro is not the beach. It's, so if you go east from San Diego, you go over a mountain range and you drop down into the low desert. We left there, let's see, October 22nd of 2002. It was 119 degrees in October. So it was real heat. It was oven heat, or Africa heat, as we used to say. So during that time, we started to make the news because San Diego was getting overrun. Every night there was hundreds of people just gang rushing them, as was El Paso, Texas. So they're two of sort of the bookends of the border. So they came up with a strategy called Operation Gatekeeper, where they would just line up guys along the border to form a human fence. So what that did was it pushed all the traffic down over that mountaintop down into the valley where we were. The problem is, you know, illegal aliens, migrants, whatever you want to call them, the real legal definition is an illegal alien. I know a lot of people find that controversial, but that is what it says on the books. But anyways, so it pushed all the traffic down to us. And these illegal aliens coming from wherever in Mexico, the interior of Mexico where it's not that hot, did not know what they were in for. So we were finding dead bodies everywhere. Human smugglers are just the dirtiest, lowest form of life there is. I'd take a drug smuggler over a human smuggler any day. Because their cargo is human beings and they don't care about it. So they would give them 1 gallon of water to cross the desert with. And 110, 112 degrees, that's not enough. So, so that's where I started. That's where I got to see some of the horrors of the job. Some of the accolades were that we had 3 checkpoints on the highways. And that's where we caught a lot of our dope. A lot of our people on terrorist watch lists, that kind of thing. My first dope load was 60 pounds of cocaine, worth $1.9 million. and my patrol agent in charge, he's the highest ranking guy at the station, called me and he said, there's people in Mexico talking about you, so watch your back. I said, how about transfer me up to the northern border where I'm from? And he said, no, this happens all the time. So that's kind of the short of the story as far as where I started, and that's where all the opportunities are on the southern border. So we are hiring right now, fast and furiously, because after 9/11, we tripled the manpower nationwide for the Border Patrol. They realized the northern border was wide open, and that's how I ended up on the northern border. So I spent the last 2/3 of my career on the northern border. And people laugh and say, you know, oh, those Canadians, right? Well, it's not just those Canadians. The Hells Angels run a pretty sophisticated smuggling operation. When I was in New York State, in Vermont, the Hells Angels ran a lot of that organized crime smuggling from there. There was also an Indian reservation, the Mohawk Indians, the Akwesasne Indian Reservation in Western New York. Those guys are well organized, well armed, and they're not afraid to point guns at federal agents. So the northern border is no joke either. So now I'm in Detroit. We actually back up the Detroit PD more than anything, right? But there's still a ton of smuggling going on there too. Pretty much all the ecstasy in the U.S. comes from Canada, and that's what we're seeing the most of. We're seeing a lot of guns going into Canada, a lot of money coming back, but it's mostly the ecstasy trade. And now we're starting to see a lot of illegals because Canada, for instance, Mexico does not need a visa to fly into Canada, where you do need a visa to fly into the United States. So what they'll do is they'll fly into Canada and then they'll cross that northern border. So the need is everywhere. However, for our particular job, all our new people go to the southern border first, because that's where you get, the experience. That's where you learn how to follow footprints, what we call cut and sign. That's where all the fun is, really. So your professor wants me to talk to you guys about these opportunities, and that's what I'm here for anyways. I'm full-time recruiting right now. And like I said, we're after 9/11, all those guys we hired, they now have their 20 years in, and they're pulling the plug, right? A lot of guys get in this work just to do their 20 and get out and do something else. Unlike me, who there's still claw marks in the floor where they tried to drag me out. I'm hanging on as long as they'll let me. The Border Patrol is a federal agency, right? So like DEA, like U.S. Marshals, like Customs. So our pay is commensurate. I have 28 years in, so I'm a dinosaur, but I made it, and I'm not bragging, this is just what the government pays me, and they pay everybody else with 28 years in. I made $134,000 last year. I have my high school diploma and 1 year of college. I feel like I won the human lottery, honestly. So we don't require a 2-year degree, we don't require a 4-year degree, obviously, but I'll tell you what, I would encourage you to get your 4-year degree. As much as we'd like to have you right now, we get all our knuckle draggers from the military, right? And we need those guys. And I'm sort of a knuckle dragger too, because I don't have a 4-year degree. But we also, the people that promote are the people with the degrees. And so if you have any aspirations to either promote or maybe get back home with another agency, I would encourage you to stay with it. You learn so much more from college than just the tests you take and all that stuff. You learn how to speak publicly. You learn how to think. You're dealing with people. The sort of the rub of being a Border Patrol agent is you're dealing with. So if I got a group of 10, I know at least 2 of them are the smugglers. But they dress down to look like just the regular aliens, right? So they don't want us to be able to pick them out. So I've got to figure out which ones are the turds and which ones are the people just looking for a job. And we deal with a lot of heartbreak, and You know, the United States is still a beacon worldwide for hope. And we should be proud of that, and we should, we should treat them accordingly, which we do. You know, some guys, you'll see some frustration sometimes, but for the most part, we treat them, just as they are. People just coming for a job. But you can't turn your back on that group because you don't know which ones yet until you fingerprint them are the turds. And like I said, they're the lowest form of life as far as I'm concerned. And a lot of Latin cultures are what I like to call a warrior culture. You know, there's a lot of beheadings that go on from the cartels, the fighting sports, boxing, stuff like that. They're a big part of that culture. I like to, and I don't mean that in a bad way because I'm Irish American. Every Irish American kid I grew up with in New York boxed. So it's just part of their culture. So, you always got to keep that in the back of your mind that they're not afraid to fight. I came to the northern border, and it was a change of scenery for sure, and it was slow, a lot slower than the southern border. But that's where all these other opportunities started presenting themselves. So we don't just drive four-wheel drive vehicles or ATVs or ride horses and chase people through the desert. We have facilities in Washington, D.C., where we're afforded opportunities. Like I worked in anti-terrorism. I have a high school diploma and 1 year of college. I worked in anti-terrorism task force, and we were tracking terrorists in real time. It was this top secret facility. I got top secret clearance. Again, human lottery. This is stuff I never thought I'd do. And I worked there for 6 months, bought a bunch of really cool suits and stuff to wear every day, and there was a lot of prestige, as far as I was concerned. That might be in my head, but I know I'm kind of jumping around here. So I've been on the northern border for all this time, and then time came where I was going to turn 57. So 57s are when we age out. That's mandatory retirement for us. And because we were losing those guys, like I was telling you before, that came on after 9/11 so fast, because it is a tough job. There's a lot of stress involved. They said if you want to stay for up to the age of 60 in 1 year increments, we'll give that opportunity to some of you. So that's where the claw marks came, because they were trying to drag me out, and I was like, wait, I can stay. They said I could stay, so I'm staying till I'm 60. I'm 58 right now, so. They said as long as you got a program, which is, recruiting's my program. So to me, the job is easy to sell. If you've ever been on a sports team, it's kind of like that. Like you're all brothers, you're all part of a family, really. And we have a lot of fun. Sometimes. So we covered that mountain range between us and San Diego. Sometimes we would hear a sensor go off. We knew a big group was coming, so we would hide, in the rocks. We get all set up for them to come. There's the legend of the chupacabra in Mexico. I don't know if you know what that is, but it's like half human, half goat, half vampire. So a lot of Mexican people, Latin countries, are very superstitious. So as we heard their feet scuffling or whatever, and this is usually in the cover of darkness. As we hear them coming, we start, calling out, "A chupacabra." So, and we get them all freaked out. We have a lot of fun doing it. We try not to take it too seriously. It can be heartbreaking, can be dangerous, but we have a lot of fun doing it. If you get on like an ATV unit or a horse patrol unit, the horse patrol, I worked with a guy who, I made him tell me all his horse patrol stories at lunch. They're amazing. Horses are an amazing animal, right? So I had a canine for 3.5 years, and that dog could sniff through a gas tank. So they would wrap either the weed or the cocaine in 15 to 20 layers of saran wrap, and in between those layers, they put coffee, they put mustard, anything to make it not smell like weed. Then they would drop the gas tank, put it in the gas tank, put it back up there, and my dog would still hit on that car. Would still hit on the gas tank. So then horses smell, their smell is equally as acute, but they stand, 8 feet tall and they can hear. So when they take them out at night, they would know groups were coming from miles away, either by smell or by hearing. The problem with horses is that they are herd animals, and if one gets spooked, they all get spooked. So it was not uncommon for somebody to get thrown almost every night, or the horses would just take off, and they'd have to work them back. But it's amazing, with all the technology we have, dogs and horses are still some of our best resources. So back to the college thing. Again, we don't require a college degree, but it gives you so much more, and you'll have a leg up. So you can start as a GL5, a GL7, or a GL9. They're just the government's way of putting you in sort of a hierarchy. You guys, if you stay and you get your 4-year degree and you keep your GPA above 3.6, I think it is, you can come in as a GL7. So you'll get to the journeyman level of a Border Patrol agent quicker, which means you'll make more money faster. And it will make you more promotable, for sure. And you can see that all our management is guys with degrees. Many of them are prior officers from the military, so they got their 4-year degree, went to officer candidate school, did all that, and then came out with us. What else? You guys have any questions for me? How much time do I have?
20 minutes.
Okay. Anybody got any questions? Yes, sir.
So, what is the procedure for you're patrolling and you just come upon a group just randomly? What is the procedure then? Say you're you and one other person, you come on a decent sized group. What exactly you're supposed to do in that situation? Because there's only 2 of you guys, and
well, oftentimes it's just me. I was just talking to somebody about this. I was at Purdue earlier this week. A lot of it has to do with officer presence. A lot of it has to do with where are you going to go, right? So we used to they would run all the time, right? And we'd be like, where are you going? You're out in the middle of the desert. There's nothing here. You might as well come with us. We'll give you juice and cookies. We'll do this whole thing tomorrow. If they are Mexican, they get a voluntary return. So it's just like a little slap on the wrist. They go back to Mexico. Guess who we see the next night? Same group, right? So it can be discouraging as well. But yeah, I mean, if we just come on upon a group in the middle of the desert, if they don't all fit in our vehicle, because we drive around in 4-wheel drive vehicles, then we'll walk them out to the road and we'll call and have somebody meet us there with a bus or a van. They'll take them back to the station. They'll take their fingerprints, all their biographical data, put them in the system, give them juice and cookies, put them on a bus at some point, take them back down to Mexico, push them back through the fence, and we'll play this game tomorrow night. And that is a lot of what we did. They came up with more consequences for these people that kept coming back and getting caught. Eventually, we will deport them. Once they're deported, then they can't come back for 5 years. If they do, we'll give them a little federal time. So usually about 3 months in the federal system. Not a huge punishment. Again, you're talking about most of the time it's people who are trying to get to LA, New York City, Chicago to live and stay here and get a better life. So we don't come down too hard. And then, if you start seeing the same guy 15, 20 times, he's actually a guide or something like that. So then he becomes he goes into a different classification. He's not just your regular illegal. He's actually part of some criminal organization. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Sorry. So a day in the life, and there is a day in the life video on here. I don't think it's the best one we got. Basically, you go to a room like this, and I would be the supervisor. I'd tell everybody where they're going, toss you a set of keys. We'd all make fun of each other, tell bad jokes, drink some bad coffee, and then we'd head out and get in our vehicles And usually you're kind of hustling out to get out there. So the smugglers always hit us at shift change. So as we're going out, the guys out there got to stay. And so that's when the smugglers, you know, as we're kind of crisscrossing and their heads out of the game and we're just getting into it, that's when they start driving loads through or send big groups through. But anyways, you'll go out to your area, and again, with all the technology we have, you know, sign cutting, looking at footprints, looking at tire tracks in the soft sand is what we do. So you'll drive the desert road, we call it the drag. You'll hang out your head out the window as you're driving and you'll look for footprints. You'll look for tire tracks, or you look for brush outs. So they'll take a piece of brush and they'll brush behind them as they walk across. Sometimes they'll bring carpet with them. They'll lay carpet down, walk across it, roll the carpet back up, take it with them. Once you see those tracks, you'll jump on them. You'll call your buddy who's maybe, you know, either side of you, tell him to come help you. He'll run up ahead, see if he's got the tracks up there, and you do this leapfrog thing until you finally catch him. You do it all day, all night. Not so much in the day. Most of the day is used for cleaning up that drag. So we drag 4 tires laying flat behind the vehicle, and it smooths out the drag road. And that's how we're able to see. I mean, you can see like insect footprints. That's how smooth we get it. So, again, not real high tech, but it works. It's still our bread and butter. So I'm going to show you guys this video about the academy. It's a little bit dated. He's no longer our chief of the academy. You will get pepper sprayed while you're at the academy. You will have to do defensive tactics. So you'll be rolling around on the mat with, you know, your sweaty classmates and the instructors. You shoot a lot of ammo. We take a lot of pride in our shooting abilities. Between us, LAPD, and Mississippi State Police, they have these nationwide competitions all the time, and it's always the 3 of us that are in the top 3. We shoot a sidearm, we shoot a shotgun, and we shoot an M4 AR-15 platform type weapon. And then, you know, again, as far as opportunities go, you can end up as an instructor once you've got a few years under your belt and go to the academy. That's a lot of fun. You can be a firearms instructor at your station. I was a firearms instructor for 17 years. I also taught defensive tactics. I got to learn jiu-jitsu for free. You know, most people have to pay for that. So, yeah, it's a lot of cool stuff. So anyways, I'll show you the academy video, and then we'll all do push-ups. Just kidding.
Working at CBP is
there are men and women out there on the street right now in the desert on patrol as United States Border Patrol agents who need you as backup. I need you to graduate from this academy, but it will not be a cakewalk, and we will not give it to you. Are you listening? Yeah! Are you inspired? Yeah! Dedicated? Yeah! My name is Dan Harris Jr., and I am the Chief Patrol Agent of the U.S. Border Patrol Academy in Artesia, New Mexico. So when you arrive here at the Border Patrol Academy, we're going to be tough on you. It is not going to be an easy task to get through this academy. We expect you to come in good physical condition. We are going to test your limits there, because when you go out to the field, you are going to face some of the greatest challenges you may have ever faced in your life. For the U.S. Border Patrol, our history and our culture is extremely important to us. You earn the badge I'm wearing on my uniform, a shoulder patch that's been on our left shoulder since 1924. It's not just handed to you, it's something that you earn and that you're proud to wear when you walk out the doors at the end of this academy. We blur the lines between training and reality in a safe training environment. And so our goal is to prepare you that when the day you graduate, you're ready to go to the field, you're ready to address any challenge that your mission may bring before you. And so what we want you to do when you graduate this Border Patrol Academy is we want you to get it right in the field. In the past, there's an adage in law enforcement that forget everything you learned at your academy, you'll learn it in the field, you'll learn it on the street, you'll learn it when you get out there. Those days are over for the United States Border Patrol.
Center mass of whatever they present. So if he's peeking around, he's got a gun. And he's
We've designed the United States Border Patrol Academy based upon actual events that have happened in the field. We make our training as realistic as possible. So what we've done over the last few years here at the Academy is we've transitioned from an instructor, classroom-centric based training program to a student-centric, performance-based program. The U.S. Border Patrol Academy is 6 months in length, and during that time, you will become proficient in Border Patrol operations, immigration law, United States Code criminal law, the use of our firearms. You'll become proficient in driving our vehicles, off-road vehicles, pursuit vehicles, Spanish language, use of force, our policies and procedures, our tactics, our techniques. We provide you every tool you need to protect yourself and to protect the people of this great country. When you graduate from the Border Patrol Academy, you are better trained and better equipped than any of us ever thought we ever would be. We are looking for honest, hardworking, and dedicated men and women. We need you. There are men and women out there who need you as their backup. So when the men and women graduate from here, they are fired up and ready to go, ready to protect America and serve as top-notch professional law enforcement officers.
Ready to join? So, just try to break down the hiring process.
If you're interested in becoming a Border Patrol agent, it's important that you're prepared to attend the U.S. Border Patrol Academy in Artesia, New Mexico. The Border Patrol Academy is one of the most demanding federal law enforcement academies in the United States.
So yeah, Artesia, New Mexico. We call it Amnesia, New Mexico, because you want to forget you were ever there. There's not a whole lot going on in Artesia. We used to be at the Federal Law Enforcement Training Center in Glencoe, Georgia, but we don't play nice, apparently, with everybody. So the Federal Law Enforcement Training Center, and this is why I'd like Mr. Caprino's, their academy, the FBI Academy, is not down there too. They have their own administration. They wanted us to teach more of the, we call it FLETC, right? Federal Law Enforcement Training Academy. They wanted us to teach a lot of FLETC stuff and not a lot of Border Patrol stuff. So we wouldn't play nice, so they said, get out. So we went to Artesia. It's like many other federal law enforcement, you have to take an entrance exam, or any law enforcement in general. It's like a civil service type of test. It is, like I said, it's college level. It's not easy. And that's where we run into a problem with the fact that we don't require a college degree, yet we give a college level test. So, you know, the fact that you guys have some college under your belt will really help you. Before I forget, see this QR code that I have, that will take you, hopefully, if it works right, that will take you to a page which will sign you up to get more information. If you guys are even a little bit interested, I would really appreciate it. That's how my boss knows that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Yes, sir.
Hey, Matt, I know Border Patrol is offering a $30,000 sign-up bonus. Is that not true?
That is true. So we've got two incentive bonuses going right now. We have a $20,000 incentive bonus and a $30,000.
I saw you sit up, right? Now you're paying attention. So the $20,000 is for everybody who passes the academy and agrees to stay with us for at least 2 years. Now, it's not the military where you're signing your life away. The only stipulation is if you do leave within that 2-year period, you'll just have to pay that money back. And why would you leave anyways? So the $30,000 is for our hard-to-fill locations. We have locations, for example, Presidio, Texas. You're 3 hours from a Walmart. So there's almost nothing in Presidio. If you are involved in a serious car accident or a gunshot wound, they'll take you to Mexico because Mexico's the closest level 1 trauma center. So that's, you know, for young people, that's not so difficult to live out in these places, but you know, some of our guys coming out of the military with families, that's a tough sell. But that's still the wild, wild west. That's where the really good work is. So just keep that in mind. Usually those guys, they'll do, you know, 5 or 6 years there, and then they'll move on to somewhere else. That's the other thing is, you know, you're not stuck at the station you're initially assigned to. We won't move you. If you don't want to move, you can stay there your whole career. So if you get, you know, Imperial Beach, California, which is San Diego, you may make your whole life there and live there forever, which is fine. But you will have opportunities to either promote to other stations and sectors, including the northern border, including coastal stations in Florida, excuse me, Alabama, Mississippi, and Louisiana, and Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico is beautiful. And all the northern border stations, you'll have those opportunities. Especially if you stick around and you get your 4-year degree, the opportunities are endless. All you need to do is go on usajobs.gov and just open it up, and you will see thousands of jobs. I mean, they have jobs for dentists, psychologists, I mean, everything. The nice thing about the federal government is all the benefits that come with it. With us, we still have a pension. And I know I'm talking about stuff you guys probably don't think about, but I'm going to tell you about them anyways. We still have a 401k where the government matches us up to 5%. And if you're careful, like my classmate, he just retired with, we say, $1.7 million in his 401k. You know, that's not a ton of money anymore, but he'll be all right. You know, he'll have his pension as well. Our pension is not like some of the old pensions. Like my dad's pension was a lot more. I think I'll get 41% of my highest 3 years of earnings, which again is, you know, between that and my 401k, that's plenty to live on. Health insurance, life insurance. You know, with the health, you can opt for the dental and the vision. So these things, I know you guys don't think about them, but in a few years they're going to be real, and I do mean real. Especially if you do get hurt or you get sick, you're going to wish you had that stuff. There's so many opportunities. Like I said, I started to say, if you get that 4-year degree, you can go to any other agency. Mr. Caprino and I were talking this morning, and Border Patrol has a good reputation amongst all federal agencies. Everybody knows, you know, we got a hard job. We work hard, we get dirty and sweaty, and we're not afraid to, you know, to get down and get dirty. They teach us Spanish at the academy. You end up in the field speaking Spanish, you know, almost 10 hours a day. So your Spanish gets very proficient. So you go to any other agency, and if they require a 4-year, like ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, Marshal Service, one of my classmates went to the Marshal Service. You know, the doors just start opening up for you.
If I may just say, sorry, Mason, but he will be at the table near my office, near the glass window there. So if anybody wants to talk to him one-on-one and get more information from him, at the end of our presentation today, he will go out there and meet with you, okay? Good. Mason, go ahead, I'm sorry.
I was gonna ask, like, coastal opportunities with, like, customs. Will you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, I can't talk so much about customs, but I can talk about Border Patrol. And I'm glad you brought that up. So a lot of people kind of mix the two of us up. We are sister agencies or brother agencies, depending on how you look at it, but we don't do the same thing. So customs are the guys at the ports of entry, airports. Have any of you ever visited Mexico or Canada, driven in? All right, so you drive in, or actually when you're coming back into the US, they'll ask you, for your citizenship, you'll present them with your passport and your visa and all that. We do that at the checkpoints, but that's a different job. So they're stuck in that one spot. That's where all their authority is. The Border Patrol, we're a patrol agency, so we're out driving around back and forth. We've got a ton of authority. They do keep us reined in real tight, as they should. So you want to know about coastal opportunities. There's not a ton of manpower in those stations. But again, anything you have, like a 4-year or a 2-year, will give you a leg up. So you'll compete for those jobs. So say a supervisor opens up in Florida. Probably 250 people nationwide will put in for it. So anything you have on your resume that gives you that little push will help you get those jobs. They do work a lot with Air and Marine, which is a third agency under Customs and Border Protection. So they're out in boats all day long, like $500,000 boats full of gas, and they'll keep filling it up with free government gas. Out in the beautiful sunshine. Michigan's 100% water border too, right? So Michigan looks like a mitt. It's all the Great Lakes. So we have a very active boat patrol, which again, there are days I go out on a boat and I'm like, I can't believe you're paying me to do this. The coastal stations are getting beat up pretty good right now. There's still a lot of Cubans coming. We saw, in the past few years that really pick up. So a lot of cocaine coming from countries like Colombia and stuff, still coming to Florida, Louisiana, those stations. Did I answer your question?
Valid.
Does anybody else have any questions? Am I out of time?
Studio degree, lateral?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, like I was saying before, anything that you can have that gives you a leg up, come promotion time, you're gonna wish you had that. And I never promoted because I loved doing the job. I didn't want to get behind a desk and start, making schedules and giving guys days off when they wanted. That didn't appeal to me. What appealed to me was chasing bad guys through the desert, putting handcuffs on them. So I've stayed an agent for 28 years, and I don't love recruiting. They gave it to me, and I decided to do it, but I still want to be out there. I still love the adventure. What else?
Any other questions? Remember, you can meet with him right out here when you're done. Go ahead.
Special opportunities for Border Patrol, like you mentioned K9. I've heard of BORTAC and BORSTAR. What are some of the other opportunities that Border Patrol offers?
So it's not like they just gave me a dog. I had to go to a 6-week school for that. Same thing with the horse patrol. If you want to get on the horse patrol, that's a month long. And I'll tell you what, those guys, they kick their asses. Because they come in like, this for about a week. Dude, the dog was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. The dog is so smart, he knows exactly what he's supposed to be doing when he comes to us. They're pre-trained. And I was a spaz. You gotta walk backwards with him on a leash, you're presenting stuff to him, and I was falling over my feet, and so it was hard. And then the academic part of it was very challenging. I did 6 days of BORTAC. They beat me down, I punched out. They gave me a SpongeBob watch, and I cracked. I told them to go to hell. So sleep deprivation, calorie deprivation for however long they want to do it for. Usually it's about a month long. Borstar is a great program, and that's where we see more of our, because there's a ton of studying that goes along with that, because you come out as an EMT, as well as doing, you know, search and rescue stuff. What other? Oh, intel. So we have a really good, very forward-thinking intel shop now. We weren't always known as an intel agency. Intel was basically, hey, you know, a group of 30 crossed at Wands Crossing, be on the lookout for them. But that all changed after 9/11. They realized, you know, we are on the front lines. We have got to do a better job of intel. So, you know, we've got drone programs now, a lot of surveillance type stuff. Again, that's where a lot of our college kids end up, and they're doing a hell of a job. Yes?
So if someone gets like hurt, what ends up happening, like compensation-wise?
For an agent?
Yeah.
It really depends on the injury. If it's like a career-ending injury, you know what? I honestly I can't speak to that. I don't know exactly how that works. Whether they put them on disability or whatever. But I know, like, you know, a lot of us, because when I was in El Centro, we were constantly hiking around in those mountains. A lot of guys were hurting knees. You take a fall, you're out for a couple of days. So they would put us on light duty, still make the same pay, but we would just be sitting behind a desk for a while. What else? Okay. I will say this, when I come home, I never get sick of talking about the job. When I come home back to my little town in Postic Hill, people want to buy me lunch. People want to buy me coffee. People say thank you for your service. I feel like I'm so blessed and so lucky. So that's kind of a cool, like, one of those things, you know, Mr. Caprino can speak to this. When you talk about your job, people want to hear about it, right? It's an interesting job. It's a cool job. So, and it's not, I keep calling it a job. It's not a job. It's not a career. It's a lifestyle. So just consider all the things that come with it. And yes, you'll be sitting in a restaurant with, you know, so where you can see the door. You'll be doing stuff like that for the rest of your life. But that's, you know, we need more sheepdogs out there. You guys familiar with the sheepdog principle? So they're wolves, right? The bad guys are sheep, most people, and then there are sheepdogs. That's us. We need more of us. We need women. We need women badly. We have the lowest percentage of women in law enforcement in the country.
Hey, Allie, 1 second. Thank you all for coming today. I just want to mention to those of you in law enforcement and conservation, great to see you here today. Next week we have a VU alum who is an attorney, who is now a legal counsel. He's an attorney for the Indiana State Police in Indianapolis. He will be here next Thursday, same time. The week after, we have an FBI special agent from Indianapolis. He will be here 2 Thursdays from now at 11 o'clock. We appreciate you all participating in this. Really good crowd tonight.
Yeah,
so thank you for that. This is good. Allie?
On behalf of the Homeland Program